I was reading the chat as I was playing that, and so many people say the same thing. They're like, I never get sick of this song. It's great. So that'll bring me to my first point I'm going to make today. I have a solid stream for you today. It will bring you much joy, much levity, much laughter. Maybe I can help connect the dots and bring guttural release as you laugh and quiver in joy. But I have a new theory about money. I don't think they can buy talent anymore. Okay, look at that song. I paid them $0 for that. They did it because they wanted to. They did it because the currency is just the making it. I know so many people in Hollywood and in these industries that are all like, they all left because they're like, you can't pay me enough to do what they're telling me to do. And I'm now starting to see an actual representation of that. There isn't enough money in the world to get people to get the good actual artists to do this stuff anymore. Okay, let me show you what I mean. This just jumped out at me. The piano was yesterday. It was so good. Amazing talent, BB. Oh, thank you, Bayou Bear. They just made that. Like, some of the best Bear creations are just people being inspired, and they make it, and they love how much people love it. Don't get me wrong. I do pay people that I rely on, or they have to produce something regularly, or like COD, he has to show up every day, or like, you know, some of the other guys that like have to run my websites or do stuff like that. No problem. But typically I like to pay people in percentages. So it's like, if we win, we all win. You know, that's how I like to roll, which overall is good for everybody. You know, sometimes we're raised in this slave mentality where it's like, no, I need $30 an hour. I need this an hour. It's like, how about a percentage? It's like, yeah, but this week I'd only make $4 an hour. It's like, but what about next week? And you can ask COD and some of these guys that work with me. Over time, it becomes awesome. And it's just way more fair, where it's like, if you want to be in on my team or in my world, when I eat, you eat. and like the entropy that I split 50-50 with COD, it's very motivating for everybody. COD works his ass off. He has pride in it. There are bears who animate blows Disney away. Fact. Okay, let me show you an example. So Ben Shapiro has percentage incentivized growth. Exactly. And sometimes I make no money, and sometimes I make tons of money. So it's like, if you're cool with that and you can roll with me, then the sky's the limit. The sky's not even the limit. All right, I love this stuff and the community. Yeah, exactly. And COD did it for free for so long. That's why I know he does it for the glory of it. But at the same time, people have wives and people have kids, and people have to be supported if they're gonna, like, I can't ask someone to be here every day at 9:30, like monitoring my stuff, you know, doing everything I ask COD to do without a percentage. And so, like, let's say I bring in $1 million in entropy. He'd get a $500,000 or $400,000, and he'd deserve every penny of it. And you see how the entrepreneurial spirit is actually how a lot of people get very wealthy, or not, you know, but it's fun. So like, if I have a month where I don't make any money, COD's still here at 9:30. If I have a month where I make a ton of money, COD's still here at 9:30. You understand? It's how a tribe can actually build in these times. Okay, Ben Shapiro has unlimited money. He's sponsored by these shadowy figures, a lot of corporations and banking interests and stuff. So the Daily Wire has millions and millions and millions of dollars a year in funding. I realized that when I was doing Michael, man, I'm so bad with names that I don't use a lot. The kind of feminine faced guy that I like him. Michael something at Daily Wire. He has a very feminine like face. It's very smooth. He's my favorite one at the whole Daily Wire. I was like, dude, they own or rent or whatever a massive space in Sherman Oaks, right off Ventura Boulevard. Like, right off Ventura Boulevard, they have like, I don't know, a 10, 20,000 square foot office. That would be, I don't know, $100,000 a month, $200,000 a month, like a ridiculous amount of money. And each studio, they have like all the tech. They have like makeup and interns and all that. And I'm just like, Where is this money coming from? I know for a fact people don't like Bowl and Branch sheets that much. Okay, this is going to bring me to my point. So Ben Shapiro and Jordan appear to have hit a methamphetamine pipe and then sat down for a conversation about a conversation about a conversation. And look at the framing of that. I had to comment. I said, whoever framed the back of this guy's head to be the same size as in his single shot should be fired, stripped of their lands and titles. Horrible production quality, Ben. Okay, follow Film Grain. Film Grain, I don't know the last word, but it's Adam. Adam, who directed all the documentaries, edited them, produced them, did it for a great rate. Hire him if you're ever going to do anything, because for about 100th of the cost, I don't know what these people are paid, honestly, but like I'm not a cinematographer. I can be an editor. I can be a producer. I can be a director. Whoever framed that shot is insane. So they're paying these people. So what the cinematographer made in just that day is probably what Adam made in a week or two. I don't know. He also edited all of it, just did a wonderful job. If anybody watched the documentary, he was in real time, in real life, filming people, and then he would edit it and help with the score and help with the color correction, all this stuff. Face is lit like shit. He looks like an old meth head, and it's half black. A background guy in the shot looks like his head is almost the same size, and they're about to kiss. That's literally crazy. All the money in the world can't buy talent. It's like, and you're seeing it more and more. The documentary was so good. Thanks, Equus Bear. Where people are like, oh, it's such a scam. Oh, then it's a militia. It's like, wow, you can watch 3.5 straight hours of well-produced documentary, and it's a very uplifting story about exactly what I said it was about. Oh, well, you sir. Okay, so anyway, this is good news for the good guys, by the way, because the value of money isn't really what people think. I hear a lot where these neocon baby boomers are like, half the world lives on less than $1 a day. Okay, $1 is a product. Think of it like a pair of Nikes or grape soda or lubricant, whatever you guys are into these days. A lot of people don't use the product of money. You know, you can use currency with barter, trade. Like imagine you could be living in a castle with airships and a thriving village around you with a blacksmith and the horse guy and, the girl that makes kombucha. And, you got Rebecca Bear's family making the honey. Okay, you can operate the entire thing without any use of any money. And then the baby boomer neocons in America would say, they're all living on less than $1 a day. You understand? It's a product. It doesn't mean poverty. And so what we're witnessing now is so good because people are more excited to just do something awesome than to get a lot of money. Because that Olive Tree Bear and Old Wise Bear and Burn Bear and all the guys involved in that song I showed you, they could never have made that song if they were on a record label. Never. Zero. They would have, like, the producer would have been, the first note would have been like, wait, you don't think the moon landing happened? And then they'd be like, wait a minute, are you a white nationalist? Are you promoting family? Are you saying that people should have kids? Like, they'd be like, no. What you need is this. Oh, baby, I like it raw. Oh, baby, I like it raw. Okay, so that's the reality of the situation. So what it is, and I made the choice with comedy. I would rather do comedy in the woods, for my stuffed animals and my and my chickens, than to have to humiliate myself like these guys are doing on Netflix. Like every single set is about male, female, divide. It's all so ridiculous. Can we make that song about raw meat? Oh, dude, great idea, Burn Bear. I like it raw. Oh, baby, I like it raw. Give me the lamb so I can take it away. Eggs, blah, blah, blah. The way he's rapping is so fast. I can't really riff on it right now. But yeah, it's hilarious. Oh, baby, I like it raw. So I just want to make that point right off the bat. I can't rap. I mean, I can rap like, yo, Yo, if you had one shot and one opportunity, but that like that really fast stuff, you have to kind of know what you're gonna say a little bit, I guess, unless you're like a hardcore B with brain damage. Except raw vet. Dude, I feel so good on my diet. If any of you guys are like super fat and you feel hopeless, like I was feeling recently, not hopeless. I've never felt hopeless spiritually or emotionally, but like physically, I was starting to feel like, oh, great, I'm a fat guy now. Just literally only eat meat for like, it's not for life, but like just wait 2 weeks. You're going to be like, oh my God, I can move again. This is insane. I'm super fat, Sam Bear. You don't have to stay fat. If you just do this, okay, get really good steaks and Cholula sauce and just cut them up and just eat them with hot sauce. And just get coffee in the morning and put raw butter in it. Like my breakfast and lunch is literally just coffee and butter. And then I eat like at least a steak and probably like a liver or something. And that's it. And dude, I feel full all day. And it's awesome. How do you get fat? I'm tired of being cold all the time, says Scar Bear. I don't know, because fat is more of a feeling. Like I still have weight on me and everything, but I don't feel fat anymore. It's hormonal. It like shifts. It's like, you know how you get that feeling like you're fat, like everything's puffy and you're sluggish and things hurt and it's slow. That goes away in literally a week. How should I cook it? Medium? I eat it raw, but yeah. The way to cook it is, low heat, put some butter on it, some salt, some sea salt, some pepper, some onion flakes, whatever. If you want to cook it. That's not a deal breaker at all. But if you just try to cut out brownies or just try to cut out bread or just try to cut out that, it never works. I literally tried it 100 times and failed 100 times. What you do is you get excited about a new thing to eat. And also with meat, you can eat as much as you want. The first day, eat like 5 steaks. So like your belly is not like, it's like super full. And then you realize that you're not even supposed to eat 3 times a day. Like just get some fat in you early, like good fat. You can also eat like hard cheese, like cheddar cheese, like really good cheese. And, baby, do you eat the organs raw? Yeah, but it's kind of like bloody and it's a little gamey. So, I'm not, Amy likes to freeze liver pieces and like take them like pills because she hates the taste, like hates. I'll do it with chicken, homemade hot sauces, and homemade jalapenos. I can eat that shit all day. Dude, I'm telling you, man, you might still be fat. Like I'm still overweight, but I don't feel it anymore. Like, that feeling like when you're moving and you just feel good? Like you feel like you're, I can't explain it, but you guys know what I'm talking about. That happens really quickly. Keeping yourself in ketosis is hard, but I've done it before and I felt great. Yeah. I had a little bit of rice yesterday, like local millet or rice with some bone broth in it with steak. Just because I felt like, I don't know, just to add a little bit of that stuff. But in general, you get rid of inflammation on keto. Yeah, totally gone. All diets work for a little while. The key is to keep switching it up like BB every month or 2. Yeah, well, just eliminate inflammatory shit. Yeah, I'm still losing that last bit of baby weight. Should try keto for a week or 2. It's more about how you feel than how you weigh, for me. And everybody's different. Some people, it's veganism. I get it. I think veganism over long periods of time is always bad. But I think veganism for 6-8 months sometimes, even a year, can help clean people out. If you have an overstressed liver, like let's say you're a recovering drunk or drug addict or something, and your liver is, I think veganism might be the way to go for a while because you can, and then slowly bring proteins and fat back in. I'm not a nutritionist, but I do think that it's important for people to physically be good these days because the last thing you need is to feel like shit as all this stuff is happening. If you stick to that diet and eat once per day in a 5-hour window, your fat will melt off. Totally. And you just feel better. Like Amy's saying, I'm treating her and the kids way better. Not that I wasn't before. Easy gammas. But she's like, I'm way more present. Like this morning, I was working out with the kids. Here's a funny picture. Here's Jack. And that's the cool thing is like, if you do everything with your kids, that's why I recommend living in a small house, because they want to do what you do. So if you're like working out, they just want to work out. I mean, my 1-year-old is trying to jump rope at this point. And so just more present, more active with the kids, more like less just mopey. The no booze thing is key for me personally. Yeah, I mean, the no booze, because booze is really hard on the liver. It's really bad for weight, inflammation, all of that. Is the new house small enough? Yeah. It's like 1,800 square feet plus a bonus room. It's like perfect size for us. And it's designed for everyone hanging out. So it's like the kitchen, living room, that's all one area with a big fireplace and the piano and everything. Yeah, it's great. It's like perfect sized. And then we can have a family member. I think Grandpa Jack wants to live here. So, we can have a family member be here very, very easily in the bonus area above the garage. And then also my mom an open plan. Yeah. And 1,800 square feet for 4 kids and a family and potentially a grandparent is perfect. I think that's like epic. The children are getting much bigger, BB. Baby Jack is getting tall. Yeah, and Baby Jack is just absolutely crushing. It's so nice to be able to have a family stay with you if needed. Yeah, like right now we live in about 450 square feet, 500 square. So it's like, it's pretty extreme, but I've grown a lot from it. I love it. Like here is, like Jack is Amy's biggest fan. So my wife has been teaching herself, through Suzuki, the violin with Jack, or with Walter. And Jack just loves watching it. And I always show this angle in my house because it's the only angle. This is my whole house. And then we have a former washroom where we have bunk beds that we all sleep in. That's like a third this size or a quarter this size. So it's very, very small. But the good thing is everybody hangs out. So check out Amy and Jack. So you see like Jack's just watching and loving it and everyone's playing, but because the thing about small areas is you have to be really respectful of each other because you're in each other's space all the time. The wizards say our brain grew bigger from eating cooked meat, evolutionist wizards. Total nonsense. Total unbelievable nonsense. Can't believe how much awesome stuff has happened since you started streaming, BB. When you pause to reflect on it, it shows how life's such a trip. Epic. And I'm still called a failure by mainstream. It's hilarious. Oh, and the magazine sales are now closed. Thanks to everyone who bought them. We are going to make an awesome magazine for you guys. Literally epic. We have, it's modeled after National Geographic. It's the same spine, same type of paper, same type of cover, about the same size. So if you bought that, expect that. I don't know exactly the delivery date, but I'm signing them because I appreciate you so much. And appreciate that. And we did buy some extras in case people want them down the road, like a complete set, because the goal is to do 4 issues a year. So so the pre-sales are now done. So thanks everyone who bought them. We can now, and it's already laid out. Thanks to Nero and Camera Bear and Copper Bear and everybody that worked on it. It's laid out beautifully. The articles are awesome. Tom Barnett wrote, Runner Bear, Wobbly Bear. Dude, it's epic. It's an epic magazine. So thank you all. Right here, right now is the mainstream for me. My brain is getting bigger from gravy injections. Get your boosters, guys. Yeah, you want to have a lot of, your brain is 100% fat and cholesterol. There's a reason, quote unquote, they tried to take out fat and cholesterol from our diet because it literally is why we're smart. We did classical guitar through Suzuki. All of my children still play. Yeah, it's an awesome Awesome experience. This is a great quote by Nietzsche. I'm not upset that you lied to me. I'm upset that from now on, I can't believe you. That was the biggest thing that happened with my dad. It wasn't that he lied all the time, or just people in my life, like institutions like NASA or, you know, the NIH or any of these stuff. It's not that like your lie did that much, but it's like now I can never believe a word out of your mouth. Like once you identify a liar, and it's pretty easy to do. Like for example, you can go back through the 80 days of live streaming I've done, and you can see where I've changed my mind. You can see where my opinion shifted. You can see where I've drastically changed my opinion on things. But one thing about me that you can clearly see is I never lie. I never keep one story this way and another story, like never. And that's one reason why I command such loyalty and respect from people, is because it's all in the open. And one of the reasons I think they tried to censor me so intensely is because they don't want people to see the journey, where you can go back 5 years, 8 years sometimes on these 7 years on this podcast / live stream. And when you're doing 2.5 hours a day for years and years and years, you can't be a liar, because it will always unravel. And that's provable that I'm never a liar. Because the thing is, people will forgive you if you're wrong. They will forgive you if you change your opinion. They will forgive you if you get angry. They'll forgive you if you get resentful. They'll forgive you if you make a mistake, like a big mistake. What they won't forgive you for is to be a liar. Because at that point, like, it's logical to never believe them again. Because once someone shows you that that's what they are, you know, it's like NASA. It's like, nothing they say is believable now. And it's intense. And that's one of the things. I recently watched this movie, Free Guy. Liars and hypocrites don't get forgiveness. That's true, Cobb, but everybody can be slightly hypocritical. I find I keep my hypocrisies in check, but I do find them occasionally. No one is purely not a hypocrite. Like, like I can be ranting about the vulgarity of Hollywood as I'm saying it and all that stuff. And so, like, you'll find these little things that you're doing that aren't complete. You know, like I find myself occasionally catching that, and that's hypocrisy in a way. Unapologetic hypocrisy. Yeah, that's a good one, Cod. Where you're like, oh no, I can be a hypocrite. Like my slogan is, I might be wrong, but I'm not lying. The hypocrite is, I might be lying, but I'm not wrong. Where they're saying the ends justify the means, where they lie in order to get an outcome, and they believe that is justified. I'll give you a perfect example of that. Like Trump is the perfect example. Here's Trump. Wow, this is great. It's nice to see Trump not just proudly admitting he's vaxxed and boosted, but going out of his way to shut down the people booing and then pointing out that it's just a tiny group. I know Lady QAnon Bear 3366911 is beside herself. And then they start justifying it. They start saying, oh, Trump has to do that because, you know, he's got to play ball for the big battles. No, it's unforgivable. He betrayed his base. He betrayed everything he said. And now he's lying all the time. I don't even think he got a booster. He lies all the time. Oh, Trump, I know, but the worst is when people justify it, where they go, oh, but Big Bear, it's for the greater good. It's never for the greater good. Every time you lie, think of it in a metaphysical sense. You like tear reality. Like it's like poisoning someone's mind, because the way we discern reality, the way we discern our lives is with information. And when you have bad information, you can't discern properly. You end up being a bad engine, all built up with sludge. And so when he puts these lies into the world, when he puts like this hypocrisy into the world, it breaks the brains of his sheeple. And that's bad. That's clearly bad. And it always backfires. Force begets force. And this is the good news, if you want to see it this way, that, and it's really sad to see all these Trump fans justify it, where they're like, okay, sometimes you probably have to justify me. Like if you're a fan of mine, or if you're a bear, or if you're in this community and someone will show you a clip And you're like, oh, but Big Bear was drunk and angry that night, or Big Bear was this, blah, 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 blah. You'll never have to defend me being a liar, or trying to throw you under the bus. So I understand people wanting to defend the guy they like under attack. Because I know every one of you probably at some point will have a family member or a friend be like, but isn't Owen Benjamin blah, blah, blah? And you're like, and then you defend me, which is great. But what you defend is a misunderstanding. Well, he's done 80 hours of live streaming, and sometimes he's in really crazy moods, and that was a clip from that. And if you think about it, I mean, they do control the banks and blah, blah, blah. All right, so that's, I appreciate people who defend people. Like, I used to defend Trump when the media would unfairly attack him, when they're like, oh, well, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that's not fair. You guys do way worse, and you have no evidence of Russia collusion, or you have no evidence of this or that, right? But when it comes to this vaccine narrative, it's and the January 6th stuff, he riled up his base, implied, strongly implied, him and his little son there, to storm the Capitol. He said, go march to the Capitol, show them our voice, and he was trying to say that his vice president needed to be stopped, and democracy was on the line and our government is being taken over. So he riles up these people that love America and believe in Trump. And then a lot of them are still in prison right now. And he's done nothing to help them get out of prison. In fact, he threw them under the bus, called them terrorists, all that stuff. BB will never send us to storm the Capitol. Never. It's horrible what he did to you guys. A lot, not you guys, but a lot of his followers. He was like, I am Trump, like, believe in me. We're fighting the deep state. America is on the verge of collapse. We have the cabal, blah, blah. And then they kept saying stuff to try and get violence. They're like, little son there was like, act like the left. And we had just witnessed the quote unquote left riot for 6-8 straight months. Mostly peaceful protests, all that bullshit. And so they riled up a crowd, and you can create an egregore in a crowd. Trust me, I'm someone who has gotten 10,000 people in a stadium to sing Over the Pants hand job in a Walgreens and cry. Okay, I understand the egregore of a crowd. You can make thousands of people act as one, and then you start conducting them. It's one of the reasons that I'm so terrifying to some of these people, is because I understand the skill set. He gets this egregore of the crowd to start going. Was there operations going on? Was there actors? Of course. Did they want this to happen? Yes. Was it a script? Of course. Did real people do it? Yeah. And they're still in prison. And I'm not defending them either. This is the result of idol worship. This is why God allows it. If you worship an idol over God, and that idol, that puppet, tells you to do something, and you do it, and it's immoral, or if it's clearly illogical. When Don Jr. said you act like the left, he meant to be Gavin Newsom's plastic ex-wife. Yeah, Don Jr. married Gavin Newsom's sloppy seconds. So, like, all this right-wing bullshit of like, oh, we're so much better than the left. The namesake of Donald Trump got the leftovers of Gavin Newsom, who's gross. So, like, all right. So anyway, that was the point I was trying to make, that like, and the lying only hurts them. If you're a liar, you will end up a lot like my dad, just muttering and sputtering, not having any contact with his family, always miserable, always, crying. Oh, here's some super chats. Thank you. Anyway, if you guys want a super chat, entropystream.live/app/Owen Benjamin Comedy. Dear Big Bear, I know this is only a paraplegic size super chat, but I just bought myself chocolate. Merry Christmas. Thank you, Matthew. Every bit helps. Doje Kang said, that was an excellent piano. Thank you, BB. P.S. How does Alexander or Alexandar sound as a boy's name? Its meaning has been stated to be defender of man. I love the name Alexander. I'll tell you why. We're thinking Frederick Troy, because Troy is my mother's last name. And Troy means foot soldier, and Frederick means kind ruler. And I just think the story I'd love for my boy is... he's both on the ground like a soldier and also a kind ruler. I think that's a really cool meaning. Shout out to Indiana Bears. 'Twas a delighted Bears giving and was full of joy and cheer. That's awesome to hear. Yeah, Troy means foot soldier. And Frederick means basically benevolent ruler, like peaceful ruler. So someone who's capable of being on the ground, you know, digging the ditches, shooting the bullets, and also the one on the throne who is capable of ruling during peace. Frederick cannot end up as Rick. No, never. Freddie Troy, Frederick. Just great. I think it's a strong name. That sounds intense. That's a solid middle name. Yeah, I always like to think of the story of the name. Like Jack Arthur Smith. So Jack is my wife's great-grandfather's name, who is almost single-handedly responsible for the fact my wife doesn't have daddy or male issues, because her non-white biological dad, you know, jumped the fence right after her. She has a great stepdad, but easily could have been, you know, a train wreck with men. But she had Grandpa Jack, you know, because her mom, single mom, working hard for a while. You know, little Amy can stray, you know what I mean? But she had Grandpa Jack, who's this legendary guy. And you guys have seen him on the stream and you know about Jack. So I wanted to name a son after that man. And Jack is just, it basically is like the common man. And Arthur means bear and king, like Bear King. So, you know, I thought that was a really good name for, you guys are getting it. All right, so anyway, this is what happens when you accept lies. This is why the quote-unquote with their Talmudic reasoning always fail, because they're not just trying to hurt us at all. In fact, I don't believe that they're hurting us at all. I don't even think they're a cohesive unit. I think that, and I don't think this is unique. Talmudic reasoning or satanic reasoning, I mean, I've seen it all over the place. I've seen it in Christians, Muslims, atheists, pagans. This type of reasoning always backfires. And this is how they try to skirt around the law of God. And I love E. Michael Jones. Love E. Michael Jones. Great guy. But I don't think he's willing to admit that the Catholic Church does a very similar thing. You know, E. Michael Jones had a great quote that the Talmud permits what the Torah forbids. And that's awesome, coming from a guy who calls a sterile priest father, doesn't have a beard, brings in a Christmas tree during Christmas. You know, you guys get what I'm saying. The Catholic Church also disregards the Old Testament laws. And Jesus brought the New Testament, but did not disband the old laws. It's almost like building a house. Like the foundation is still there. Like, and so I love E. Michael Jones. I'm just pointing out that we all have this in us. All of us. No man is above the whispers of Satan that says, I have a loophole for you. Oh, you can shave your face now. You can do that, you know. And some things are bigger or smaller than the others. Like you can shave your face or whatever, but it's in the Bible that men shouldn't shave their face. But in the end of the day, it's like, and then it gets all the way up to lie, murder, rape, all that stuff. But Arthur is on my list. You're using all my favorite names. Yeah, Arthur's a great name. I also like Archer. Archie is a great name. I had a great uncle, Archibald, who was a good guy. Very intense. Very intense. Roman Catholic emphasizes the Roman. Yeah, and again, I love a lot of Catholics. I love E. Michael Jones. I think he's a light in this world. I really do. But you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to have relentless self-honesty. Catholics doing a similar thing. But anyway, take it to a level that's unbelievable. This is what they've done in New York City. Look at how they've tried to get around a law of God. And again, I'm not judging in a certain way, because I have this in my heart too. I've done this in my life. I did it this year. I decorated a Christmas tree outside. Like in the Bible, it said, don't bring in a tree like the pagans. My family likes Christmas trees. So we did an outdoor Christmas tree, which is borderline loophole Talmudic reasoning, but I'm okay with it because I'm also Northern European with pagan roots. I like the Festival of Lights. It's a great thing to do in a northern homesteading climate. I like Christmas cheer. I like Christmas music. I don't find it evil at all. So, but again, you know, I did decorate a tree this year, and I'm just being honest. You know, the key is just being honest about it with yourself. Like, but watch this to take it to a ridiculous level.
In certain parts of Manhattan, you'll notice a fishing line hanging over your head that's easy to miss. So what's the point of this fishing line? Circling Manhattan from 1st to 126th Street, there's an 18-mile fishing line that's tied to utility poles. It's part of an A-roof, a symbolic fence. According to one of the laws of the Sabbath, if you're an observant, you can't carry things from your private residence into the public domain on Saturday. No keys, no wallet, no MetroCard, nothing. If you have kids, you can't push them in a stroller. Essentially, you're stuck at home. So, the A-roof symbolically extends your private residence into the public domain so you can perform ordinary activities within this symbolic fence. This way, you have the freedom to carry around things without breaking the laws of the Sabbath. It's routinely checked every Thursday before dawn by a rabbi to make sure that it's intact. The concept of the A-roof was established 2,000 years ago to allow realistically follow the laws of the Sabbath. And there are over 200 cities around the world with similar A-roofs. So that's kind of interesting.
It's insane. Think about what they're doing, because the reality is they're just atheists. They're worshiping Satan. Oh, how dare you? Dude, just be honest about it. You're not worshiping. Okay, so if your prophet says you can't leave your residence on the Sabbath and do business. So what did they do? They created a residence that's the whole city using a string. Kind of ingenious. It's not, though. It's ridiculous. And so they're like, oh no, we get away with it. You get away with nothing. You get away with nothing. And I'm not a strict Torah guy, so it's like I don't care that much. Because I just don't, because you'll never see me be like, oh yeah, I keep the laws of the Torah like by the letter. That's what these are claiming. They're like, hey, we're the special boys, we're keeping the law. No, you're not. You're not. You developed a loophole and no one believes it. It's retarded. And this guy reporting this is like, wow, it's very interesting. So you're now saying that your house is inside that fishing line. You know it's not. I mean, it's just not. It's an exhausting way to live. Yeah, just admit you're breaking God's law. Because I believe in my heart that God hates liars more than people who break his laws. It's like, I think that when you're when you're extracting the virtue from God's laws, but breaking them, you're the worst of both worlds. And that's one reason why always have problems. Always have problems. They're never, I mean, and this is not, this is a known thing. You know, Jerry Seinfeld had a joke that was like, did you hear about the Gentile who asked the other Gentile, how's business? One Gentile says to the other Gentile, how's business? And the other one says, good. That's the joke. Do that. Well, I got my mother-in-law, the cheese isn't coming in, and a guy, they're always having a problem. And it's because they do it to themselves. You know, normal people have the ability of just being like, good. They can't. Like if you ask and this is humor. This is not, oh, in Benjamin, the ADL. This is literally humor. In reality, I don't hate. In reality, don't hate me. I've entertained many, and they completely like me. A lot of them. Some hate me, I guess, but it's like the illusions of the ADL or the SPLC or any of these is bullshit. They have an envy of us because we have an ability of being happy. Where they're like, my spoon, where's my spoon? I got the spoon and the fork and this has got too many points on it. Oh, too many points on the fork and the spoon. Oh, well, my son is... There's another great joke. Okay, so one sees another reading a book by Farrakhan. And he says, and so one reading a book or a pamphlet from the ADL. And another group is another reading a book by Farrakhan. And the newsletter says, Harvey, why are you reading a book by Farrakhan? And he goes, because it makes me feel better about myself. These people think we're doing awesome. So basically the joke is, if you read a newsletter, all it tells you is how everyone hates you. You're doing terrible. You're at any moment, you're about to be destroyed by the world. And if you read Farrakhan, you're behind everything. You have all the power and you control the whole world. And so let's say you're low self-esteem and your deli's not doing very well. And, you know, it's just not going great. What would you rather read? Like sometimes when I hear blacks talk about whites, I get really happy when they're like, man, the white man puts us in prison. I'm like, I do? They're like, man, the white man the white man keeps me down and keeps me in the ghetto. I'm like, guys, remember a minute ago when like I thought my cow was going to fart herself to death and I live in the corner of a barn? It turns out I have slaves, you know, and it makes me feel great about myself. Like, I love thinking about, like, I listen to black victims. I'll listen to it for hours. By the way, if you have vaccine damage, I don't actually listen for hours. But when it's like the white man has all the privilege, I'm like, yeah, really? And they're like, the white man still has us in chains. I'm like, hey, honey, hey, love, it turns out I still have slaves. We're killing it. We own blacks still. In reality, it's obviously ridiculous. Hey, Cod, do we really not have any more super chats? Entropy streamed out live/app/Owen Benjamin Comedy. I've got a mail today, thank God. So I'm just going to read that. But I do have more for you. Oh, yeah. Project Veritas is making the rounds again. And I am not going to stop with this guy. Okay, I'm banned from theaters. I'm not allowed in American theaters. I don't have debt. Well, mainstream. I can privately owned without any debt. I can get in a theater. But I'm legitimately banned. Actually, let me read this first. This is from Anti-Lockdown. Love your work and what you're doing. I'd say I agree with 90% of what you say. I've been in crypto for a while and it's not for everyone. That's cool. Yeah, I'm not saying blockchain is evil. I don't think the technology itself is evil. The way it's being used, I think, is to subvert the dollar. And if you might be for that. The dollar isn't like good, but it's supports your way of life if you're in the Western societies. If we adopted Bitcoin, we'd be as poor as, you know, Chinese farmers in about a few years. As full-time developer and looking into a lot of these projects, I'd say most are Ponzi schemes. I think all are Ponzi schemes. There are many positives, though. The biggest lesson for people is not crypto as a scam, but making trading decisions based on what Elon says is silly. Elon promoted Doge, which by the developer's own admission was a joke, and there is no limit to the coins produced. Yeah, Bitcoin's even dumber in my opinion. I get it, precious metals are better at first glance, but just try getting them across a border. Well, I think if you're trying to cross a border, I don't want to leave my county. You know, we're different in that sense. Like, if you want to jet set around the world and just go in and out of different countries and yeah, I mean, sure, use Bitcoin. It's great for, rootless, landless, titleless looking to get stuffed. But me personally, I like things that have actual value. Land, family, stocks, livestock, not dead stock. Crypto, I think, is, as for Bitcoin, due to it, and there's a guy who's supporting me right now. I'm so bad at business. I'm like, thanks for the super chat. Anyway, you're... God, it's so funny, though. It's such a good life, though. I'm living a great life. All right. As for Bitcoin, due to it being an immutable ledger, as are most cryptos, if you make big gains, it takes little effort for government or any criminal to trace ownership and extort you. Yeah. You're basically parading your wealth in front of the whole world. And when people go, oh, no, it's anonymous. I know guys that have algorithms where they can figure out the exact person who's trading crypto at any time. I'm not going to say who, but like that's mathematically totally possible. Crypto is no replacement for homesteads or self-work. I'm glad you said that. Thank you, Anti-Lockdown. We may see more eye to eye than I'm leading on. If I'm not against people using it for, I don't know. As long as you admit that real world value is better than crypto value, and it's probably going to be used in the metaverse to just buy and sell, kitty. I think we can, However, they will have a big place when the shit coins fade to nothing. I would say the following are sound investments. Pirate Chain, complete anonymous payments. Nothing's anonymous. The only thing anonymous is handing someone $1. Everything online is trackable. Everything. I have an autistic genius friend who like 3 years ago called me in a blind panic. Like, crypto can be traced. I'm like, what? He's like, we cracked all the codes. Tell everybody. I'm like, how long have you been awake? He's like, 4 days. He's like, it can all be tracked. It can all be hacked. I'm like, I know. He's like, you knew that? I'm like, yeah. When I identify something and we're about to get to Project Veritas, it can be cracked. Just like you can get in James O'Keefe's Monero, the same reasons as above. Dero, like Monero, but the ability to host unstoppable and uncorruptible applications. There's no application that's uncorruptible. Library powers the Odyssey website. You're using it now, so no one can say it has no utility. I can. I mean, don't get me wrong. I immediately exchange it for dollars. I split it with Coddington, and I buy feed with it. Because dollars is the actual currency. This is all grooming techniques. Not you personally. I like this this guy, whoever it is. But it has no value. It's a joke. It's just like, remember Lemons on D Live where they said, oh, Big Bear, D Live, though they can never kick you off D Live, it's uncorruptible. Interesting. I was their #1 lemon earner in the entire site. I made them the most money in the history of D Live. And they kicked me off for what appears to be no reason at all. And their lemons are worth absolutely nothing. And yeah, I had to pay tax on every goddamn squeeze. I got the most ridiculous W-2 or 1090 whatever thing for all my lemons. So many people are naive to all of this, and they're like, oh, we can get around taxes in the banks. Dude, the lemons I had to pay tax on. They're like, you made this amount of money on D Live. I'm like, I thought it was uncorruptible. Oh no, we moved the goalpost again. Now you have to get Library or Dero or Monero. No, Pirate Chain is the real one. Okay. Have you not noticed a pattern here? Every time they say crypto is uncorruptible and no one can know it, and then, a year goes by and then everyone goes, we've cracked it. Everyone knows everything you've bought now. And then everyone goes, but we have a new one called Retard Coin. Retard Coin is great if you're a retard. All of the above offer a lot of freedom, but that should never be a substitute for the sort of work you do to be free. Thank you for saying that. We can be friends. I believe the above will offer excellent ROI, return on investment, maybe, but it's all dumb, or you lose everything. It's not logical. So if you are getting return on investment on these things, in my opinion, on a base level, you're stealing. But again, we've all been a part of things. But at the same time, being outcome dependent on them is a very good point. Thank you for saying that. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? If you're outcome dependent, never, ever, ever buy any crypto. If you're just like a rich autist and you're like, yeah, I can put 1,000 on this or 1,000 on that and see what happens. I'm not going to judge you. But the reason I'm so intense about this is I've watched good, hardworking men put all their money into Bitcoin and lose all their money. And they were like promised this fortune and all that. No. I saw people buying Bitcoin when it was at 65,000. It's been in the 40s now for 6-8 months. And these people need that money. And they don't want to sell it for a loss, but now they're scared it's going to go down to 10, 15. Maybe it does. Maybe it never breaks 65 again. Maybe it goes to 1 million. I don't know. All I know is if you are on a fixed income or you need money to operate your family or your business, stay the away from Bitcoin. And if one of these things jacks up, like 1 out of 5, like, oh, Big Bear, oh man, it's been 2 years and now Pirate Coin's worth $1 million. Okay, what about the other 4? Oh no, they all crashed. But if only I'd listened to that random guy. No, what are the statistical odds? So now you have to put money in all 5 and then sit there and watch it. They all have to pay taxes on it too. All. I had to pay taxes on my lemons. And a lot of you are like, no, I didn't pay taxes. Okay, in a few years, if you're in federal prison, you'll know why. They want you in prison. Like, dude, be smart. Potato. Yeah, totally. All right, everyone's getting it. So anyway, Project Veritas. I am not allowed in theaters. My Wikipedia reads like I am a World War II war criminal. Okay, Project Veritas, they say he's revealing truth and showing people all this. He is 100% approved by the system and functioning as part of the operation that is anti-America, anti-our nation, anti-sovereignty. He's 100% a globalist, 100% ANCAP, which is all the same thing. They want to disband our institutions so that they can buy and sell us. It's ridiculous, guys. The FBI is not against you. I know there's corruption. I know, oh, how dare you, Hillary. I get it. In general, the FBI, like, okay, the 2 CNN that just got arrested were arrested by the FBI. They're not arrested by Wells Fargo or... So anyway, James is 100% a puppet. It is a mission of mine to reveal closets before they marry a woman and try to destroy their life. Why is it personal for me? Because my dad did that to my mom. And I'm not mad at him. It's fine. I wish him a great life. My mom's doing great. If I can just show enough people what the signs are, then maybe they won't end up at 75 years old wondering where the retirement went, because your closet husband has been giving it to a for sex, lying, manipulating. And I have a right to have this mission. People are like, oh, just forgive your dad. I have forgiven my dad. I don't judge my dad. My mom's doing great. We're doing awesome. But I have a certain set of skills. Okay, so I'm going to show the patterns of behavior. And if you're a woman, don't marry these guys. Another reason I'm really passionate about this is because this is not right wing. This is global 100%. There's no difference between James' operation, his conservative operation, and Hollywood elite parties. No difference. They're the same group of people. Okay, I'm not allowed in theaters. James can perform anywhere he wants. Why is that? Because he's authorized. Oh, but Big Bear, you're such a bigot, racist, homophobe. Nationalism, Christianity, traditional values, family values will be always labeled racist, bigoted, homophobic. You know, it's because I'm against sodomy. I think that nations exist and they have to do with your ethnicity in a lot of ways. Some ways, not totally. You can have different ethnicities within a nation as long as there's a dominant majority and they all have similar worldviews and customs and heritage. It's a fact. The Cherokee Nation is tested by a blood test. I can't go to Japan and have a piece of paper say I'm Japanese. I'm not Japanese. So that's going to get me labeled these words that people get so angry at. And the irony is I look down at way less than mainstream. Okay, let me just, they believe that gun violence is because of the gun, not the man. I don't know the stat. 95% of gun murders in America are on. You know, when you look at the stats of gun violence in America, it's overwhelmingly, it's people with, if you believe they're human beings, which I do. I believe a sentient man, a living man, who has the divine spark of the creator and has free will. Okay, so I think the man murdered another man. If you believe they're subhuman animals, you would blame the object. For example, if I had a fire in my house, like a little fire pit, I let a coyote in and the coyote knocked it over, you would say, oh, you shouldn't have that fire pit. You'd blame the fire. You'd say, well, then you're stupid for having a cauldron of fire in the middle of your living room. How would the coyote not have knocked it over? They're coyotes. You know, like an animal, you blame the object. You say, oh, I gotta get all this out of the yard or something, or else George will blah, blah, blah. Because George doesn't have the ability of not doing it. Okay, if it's a human being, you say, oh, Darnell murdered a man. You don't say the gun murdered a man. You do that when someone is subhuman. So I actually am not a white supremacist. I don't believe that doesn't have the spark of divinity, free will, the ability to not commit murder. Mainstream blames it on the object because they view it as an animal. In fact, they view all of us kind of as an animal. It's Satanism, but especially so. Okay, this is James. This is behavior. Not only is it behavior, it's anti-American. They want to disband our FBI. And I know some of you guys find that to be a popular opinion. I do not. It's just another attack at our institutions. Okay, so I had to remove the song because it was called King for a Day. It's a rave club anthem. Individuals often fantasize about being held down by militant authorities, and the reason they do this is that because it alleviates them of the guilt they feel of doing consensual sodomy. Before I play this, so here's James, and he's doing his boy band routine, and he's now about to, this is James, alleged heterosexual. That's all. He's now going to act out a fantasy where the FBI authorities are going to hold him down and make him do stuff. Okay, he's just looking around. He's depressed. And now they're holding him down. They put him on his knees, these men. And then they're doing this dramatized act out of, and then he breaks free. Well, he's breaking free. And now he's getting the crowd fired up, you know, by running around. And they're playing King for a Day. Look at him. He's pointing around. He's jumping around in his little press shirt because he's so oppressed, guys. This isn't oppressed. Guys, it's ridiculous. And so now they have this like club ravey scene going for all conservative Americans. That's not conservative. That's not right wing. That is. So the reason they do that, that's why they love Nazis. They're obsessed with Hitler. You ever notice that It's quote unquote the left, like the raging liberal freak shows that are always thinking everyone's a Nazi. You ever wonder why? It's because their fantasy is a man in a uniform with high leather boots just following orders to hold them down and put something inside of them. That's also why this is all psychological. It's all psychological. Leather daddies, exactly, Burn Bear. Most men watch Nazi. I read this book once called a Billion Little Secrets about what the porn industry figured out about human psychology based on their search history. Fascinating stuff. And one thing about is they are obsessed with authoritarianism. Why? Because a lot of times they became because they didn't have a strong male role model. You're not born, no one's born. That's ridiculous. And so another thing is they have a lot of shame. So they overindulge in these fantasies of a strong male role model that now becomes a fetish because they didn't have it as a child. And so also they want to do their sodomy, they want to do but they don't want the weight of free will. So they want someone else to make them. Actual fantasy is to be taken into a little room by a well-built Nazi who forces. Okay, now if you want to watch this again, this is pathological behavior out of jail. The FBI is one of our justice systems. Now, is there corruption? Yes, of course there is. But in general, would you rather a world without it? Like, a lot of my former ANCAP friends don't even return my texts anymore because their entire worldview is so ridiculous. It's like, oh, hey, how's LA doing without police? They don't even have an argument anymore. How's the free market handling that? Because there is private security. There is. Oh, how dare you? They're not allowing us. No. A lot of them have private security and they're still freaking out and they're still being assaulted because there's no national or municipal, federal, governmental agencies putting people in jail for committing crimes. It doesn't work. And our anarchy does not work at all. But everybody has a slight derangement in their sexuality or maybe a fetish or something. And if you're really honest about yourself and why you have that, it's either from trauma or the lack of something or just a weird wiring from an early experience. Now, apply that to typically it's the lack of a strong father, the lack of a benevolent father, and trauma or being molested. I mean, that's absolutely what makes people. And so then they're always like fantasizing about I used to be extremely promiscuous. I thought it was going to limit my ability to have a family. Back then, I didn't even think about it. I was too busy wondering who the next woman I was going to be having sex with. Unsatisfiable. I wasn't like a creep. I wasn't like manipulated. I could go stretches, but it's like when I'd do a show or when a lot of women would be around me or I had status, I couldn't get enough. I was like, this is great. Okay, that's a form of sodomy. That's why I'm not putting myself above. At this point, I am a little bit, though. I think like closet sodomy, like that stuff is more violent, it's more destructive. Physically, it's way, way more logical. I think it's really, but so is extreme promiscuity. Because, I mean, what happens? Someone gets pregnant, you like murder it or abandon it, right? It's one of the weakest things you can do as a man. The birth control pill changed worldview of men and women, and it doesn't always work. I'm so fortunate I was never put in a position where I either abandoned my baby or killed it. I mean, that's horrible. And also when you put women on those hormones, it causes cancer, causes infertility, causes depression. I have a good friend who after 1,000 sex partners, now married with 2 kids. Yeah, that's another thing I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to say that if you were once you're evil. That's one of the reasons I am in a very stable and oddly loving position because I see my own past behavior that way. And I understand that you can get out of it and you can have a great future. What I will not be a part of is these people pretending that they're not currently doing it. Like Stephen, James. I don't think Ben, I think he's potentially, I think he was traumatized really bad as a kid and now really has a deranged or non-existent sexuality. He's like, wow, I'm just here. I mean, there's no way that guy's like, well, I'm going to put my hand on your breast and then my erection is going to be, So anyway, like someone can, but it requires extreme honesty. Like you can't just become, it's all good. You literally can. I no longer fantasize about other women. I no longer would ever be a part of that lifestyle. And a lot of it was really thinking about what it was. So much of evil and spellcraft is you don't think like, what was I doing? Are these women on drugs? Have some of them committed suicide since this was made? Were they ever trafficked? And you can guarantee that just about all of them, if not all of them, were molested as children. Then you're like, does she like this guy? Is she on drugs so she can do this act? You know, your draw to it diminishes a lot. And then you start thinking about that with hookup culture. Like, are you wasting people's time? What would you do if she got pregnant? Are you opening yourself up to another energy that your life up? Well, I'm just saying that whole neocon right-wing thing is all based on extreme sexual perversion. I mean, if you look at all the leaders of this movement, I mean, they're all so weird. Like James is so like flaming. And so the way this works is you get kids to idol worship and then you make them later. Elton John, Freddie Mercury. A lot of these guys never were seen as before. It's the Hannah Montana move that the devil does. You attach someone to Hannah Montana and then slowly they become Miley Cyrus. And then it opens up this horror world to these young girls. And think about what I'm doing this for a good reason. I'm not like just mad at James or Charlie or Stephen. I know I'm smashing idols. It's like I know what is going to happen. So these young kids look up to James. Oh, that's a truth teller. Oh, that's someone who's really for America and for traditional values, even though he doesn't have a family. He's working for another nation, and he prances around like a flaming, trying to make people hate their own justice systems. And I know it's corrupt, but it's ours. You want Noahide laws? You want Israeli globalism? Yeah, you want a Chinese currency and your court to be out of Tel Aviv? You sure about that? I know the FBI can drop the ball and sometimes be corrupt and all that, but like, think about what the next level is. And let's say there isn't a court system at all and it's just anarcho-capitalism. Like, so if you get rid of all these systems of governance and then if you have enough money, you can have an army, and who's going to stop you? Who would want that? I'll tell you who. People that want to subvert and destroy your nation. And that's why, unlike James, I'm not allowed in that stadium. I'm not allowed in that theater because the quote unquote free market based on debt has kept me out. He's not kept out because he's serving the beast. And I'm passionate about this, and it's not hatred, and it's not because I feel better than people currently committing sodomy. You know, I was committing a lot of gluttony until recently with food. I fight sin all the time. Just don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to God. And just try to be better. That's all we can do. Just keep trying. Just keep trying to stay on that path. I heard the guy brag about abortions and shit. One time he squealed like a little kid telling about like he had some girl have an abortion and it made him happy. He was like, just have her have an abortion. Swear to God, it was like, It registered in my head as one of the creepiest things I've ever witnessed, where he was like, just have her do an abortion. And he smiled. Yeah, he's totally demonic. He makes me laugh, though. And, he's an interesting little guy, Jim Bob Slade O'Keefe. Dude, break the idols. Okay, and if people go, yeah, but people idol worship you. No, I tell people not to, and the whole world's against me. People are bashing me. Like, there's no way to make me into an idol. I don't have money. I don't have mainstream status. I'm attacked all the time. And if after all those attacks, you still like me and you still see some value in me, I'm not your idol. You just like me. And that's good. That sounds super evil. Dude, it was so creepy. He was like, just have her have an abortion. And he smiled like a little demon. I remember I was in New York City after I performed there and I was hanging out with him and Dave Smith. I like Dave Smith. I think Dave Smith struggles with, I think he's actually a good person, but his worldview is so bad now. Like, anarcho-capitalism is so bad. It's so obviously bad. So a nation can't protect itself? Gee, I wonder who wants to do that. You think the free market's going to sort it out? Are you crazy? And just to see like, oh, have her have an abortion. Okay, so do no harm, or what's the anarcho-capitalist thing? What is it? The non-aggression principle? How does that apply to an unborn baby? You know, it's crazy. Idol worshiping Owen is what makes the crazy spiral. They're the people who freak out on Owen because they actually want him to be a cult leader. Yeah, exactly. The entire Reddit page that is obsessed with hating me every day, those are the guys that all worship me for a little while. And then they're like, you're not God. I'm like, no shit. I'm a flawed guy. I make mistakes all the time. I battle hypocrisy like every human being alive. I'm not a prophet. I'm not God. I'm not your dad. Like, I know. So don't make me into that because I'll always fall short. What I am is potentially the funniest comedian alive. And I'm really good at spell breaking, and I'm really good at piano, homesteading, showing family life, and tracking patterns. Like, I am a legend, but I'm not a prophet. I'm not like an idol. I'm not anyone who's going to save you. I'm a really good influence on you. Yeah, I bat 9/11. I've been wrong a few times, but sometimes I do it just to see what it feels like. Yeah, Bear Church guy was I go, yeah, and they probably still watch me. They probably still are like, look at him today. Oh, he needs me. Oh my God, I'm squirting again. Dude, there's been a ton of those guys. Tons. Like, especially someone like me who stood up for the kids. You know, I was the only guy in Hollywood that stood up against trans child abuse and didn't apologize. And so a lot of abused people, and I understand that. We've all faced abuse. I get it. Looked at me as their savior. They're like, you could have protected me when I was a kid. You're who I've been waiting for. And then a lot of them went absolutely insane. Those are the people that went the most nuts. Because I'm like, I'm not God. I'm not your Owen is the funniest man on earth. As far as comedians go, there's funnier people in almost every factory or, crew in the world. I'm not like I'm the funniest comedian. I'm the funniest professional comedian alive. Because Norm died. And I know that's true. I can't think of a single person. There's a lot of other really talented people. There's there's a lot of people that are funnier than me in life. But as a professional joke writer and joke executor, name one. Dave Chappelle, Joe Rogan. Who's that retard who brags about all the food he stuffs into his, what's that guy's name? The pale, like, guy who gorges himself all the time and finds it really funny. I'm not the funniest bear. And I'm not, you can tell I don't have false modesty, guys. I'm not the funniest bear. Just name them. Name me a comedian that's funnier than me. Jim Brewer is funnier than Chappelle, Rogan, and Dylan. Yeah, but I think if you add piano and, I don't know, I think my demo might be bigger. But Jim Brewer's really funny. But I think I'm funnier. Gaffigan's terrible, yeah. But Jim Brewer is up there. He's really funny. I don't want to be the funniest. I liked when Norm Macdonald was alive. I actually think Bo Burnham is the rare, very funny guy. He is, and maybe in 10 years, he'll be the funniest guy. He also has piano. He doesn't have the same life experience as me. He can't speak on the comedy of family, the comedy of society, macro jokes, way better than him. He's better than me at Gen Z jokes, internet jokes, oddities. I would say Bo Burnham is a better comedian than me at a unique way of being a comedian. Kyle Dunnigan isn't bad. Kyle Dunnigan is a better impersonator than me. He's really funny. Male-female comedy? No, like racial, macro. I'm better at piano. You know what I'm saying? Brian Regan is probably saying, yeah, but he's gotten worse I'm saying living comedian. Now, am I the best comedian who's ever lived? No, obviously not. But comedy now, and don't think I'm being arrogant. I'm not. It's just true. Yeah, like Jim Bob's potentially funnier than me as a person. But he's a cartoonist. He's not a comedian. Right now, the carrots and sticks and one of the reasons I am the funniest comedian alive right now, who's active, is the carrots and sticks and mainstream comedy make it bad. So there's no way they can be funnier than me. It's impossible. If there's a guy that's on Netflix, he's going to make himself not funny in order to get money, which makes him not funny in real life. You understand? Norm Macdonald was a funnier living comedian than me when he was alive. And that, it's just, dude, it's true. Look at my body of work too. I've done, what, 7 hours of stand-up? You know, my impersonation range is not as good as Kyle Dunnigan, but if you look at talent stacking, I can do impersonations. I can do the piano. I can do the acting. I can do the male-female stuff. I can do the hard-hitting, edgy, racial stuff. I can do the innocent stuff. I'm not as good at the innocent, eccentric, weird comedy as Bo Burnham. But I can do that, but not as good as him. I can't do impersonations as good as Kyle Dunnigan, but I can do them. Let's see him make fun of, you know? Let's see if they have the range. I have 8 octaves. Most of these people are doing well in their octaves. Let's see him make fun of the... Oh, you can't, can you? Because you've applied a governor to your own art. How can you be the best living artist if you have something saying you can't mock it, even though it needs to be mocked? Nothing needs to be mocked more. Neil says, hey, BB, here's a little booster for the crime of driving an old Subaru. A Subaru and me generally get more super chat, but I drive with no plates and an affidavit of status. That's hilarious. Well, I wear a shirt that says sodomy stink. I appreciate all your breaking spells, ladling gravy, and focusing on the good, the true, the beautiful Fritz Bear. Yeah, I mean, that guy could be funnier than me. Think about that. He's driving a Subaru as one of these sovereign guys without a license, and he wears a sodomy stink shirt. Like, that's really funny. Now, is he a professional comedian? No, he's not. I am. Joy says, not feeling this month, but I figured I'd get ahead of the game and get my booster. Much love and gratitude. Thank you. You as well. If you saw hugging Wayne after they squirted together at the James Cabaret show, as I did, you need to booster up now. You're dangerously close to full-blown AIDS. Merry Christmas to you and the family, BB, Cod, and family, all the bears. Thank you. Yeah, and it's important to call out this type of behavior because the kids are watching, guys. If kids think that acting like James is normal male behavior, they're going to end up confused. It's not normal male behavior. Neither is tons of promiscuity for heterosexuals. Like, a man brag is equally as banned from my children as... You understand? It isn't that I hate... I don't want to bring in that demonic confusion and sin into my children's life. Like, if there was a guy that was around my kids being like, man, I girl Debbie, and then I got by Tina, and Tina's friend, you know, coffee cup came in and starts like, you're not allowed here anymore. And they'd be like, but they're all women. Once you go BB live stream, you don't go back to mainstream. I mean, you can try because I have the range. Okay, I'm going to say this so that you don't think I'm just this arrogant freak, because I'm really not. I shouldn't be the... No, that's denying God's plan. It's crazy that I'm the funniest comedian alive. I'm not the most talented at it. I shouldn't be... I don't know how to put this. It's hilarious that I'm the funniest comedian alive because the system has made it so they're not funny. I'm outside their system, and I'm one of the only people that got out of the system. So it's almost like, okay, let me explain. Like, let's just say cocaine. Let's say something else that's regulated and illegal, like comedy is, in a way. Cocaine's super illegal in an area, and so you have to grow these, like, shitty little coke plants. Okay, the quality of the cocaine would be very, very low because it's so regulated. And then a guy from Colombia with a donkey just rolls in and is like, would you like some real cocaine? We get to grow these fields in the beautiful sunshine. You understand? That's me. Like, anyone who could grow the coca leaves outside of the basement would have bigger coca leaves. That's why I'm the funniest comedian. Because they are all under the oppression of debt, money, status, all this shit. So they can't, there's no coca leaf you can grow in a basement that's up with the Columbia. There's going to be clipped, and then people are going to try and send it like I grow cocaine. I have no idea how to make cocaine. I used to want to grow coca leaves because I wanted it for tea, and I like getting fired up. I am not doing that. Well, again, I'm the funniest comedian alive. I'm not the funniest person, and it's insane that I'm, like, the funniest comedian. Like, they should have been funnier than me. Comedy is dead, long live the bard. Comedy's still alive in the bears. Look at how many bears are funnier than me. I'm not the funniest bear. I wouldn't even be comedy bear. Like, I just have, like, all the tools. Like, you know how you, all right, here's one that isn't illegal. Let's say you have a guy that's really, really good at fixing like just like one type of engine, and he can like build it out of matchbook. He's just like awesome at that. And then you have another guy that's really good at building a tire. Then you got me who has the tools that can kind of fix all of it. It's called talent stacking, where it's like if you can fix a tire and fix an engine and fix, you know, the brakes and fix this, like you're not the best at any of those things, but you're the guy someone's going to call when they don't know what's wrong with your car. Specialists are all going to be better than me at different types of comedy, but you know, overall, I am the best. Relationship comedy, piano comedy, impersonations, acting, innocent comedy. I got tools for all of it. I mean, just put improv, just riffing. In a live chat in front of my entire audience, people can put in words and music, and I can make up a song like that. That alone, am I as good as the bike thief on that show? Whose line is it anyway? No. Those guys are better at improv specifically than me, but I'm better than 99% of people. And they can't do piano. And they can't do, and again, I'm explaining this because I want you guys to do this in your own lives. This isn't self-indulgent. What I've done, you should do in your own business. Like, let's say you have a talent stack. Like, you are really, really good at plumbing, but you don't know how to market. You don't know how, you have no interpersonal skills. Like, my wife's brother is an engineer, and he keeps getting hired to all these good jobs because he's not the best engineer, but he's the best at talking to people of engineers. Talent stack. So let's say you are, you know, pretty good at editing, pretty good at marketing, pretty good at comedy. You just start stacking that shit, and then you can save all this money by producing the same thing. Let's say you're a plumber, but you start figuring out how to communicate better. Start figuring out how to market better. Like, you're autistically savant, great at plumbing a house, and other plumbers that suck compared to you are doing so much better, and you don't know why. It's because they talent stack. So it's like they can kind of market and kind of talk to people, and they're really consistent, blah, blah, blah. And if you put it all together, that's where success really happens. Like, look at Jim Bob. Jim Bob is better than me at logic. Jim Bob can talent stack too. He's good at social media. He's good at comedy. He's good at logic. He's good at drawing. Is he the best cartoonist? No. You know, but is he the best at drawing his type of cartoon? And is he adequate at it? Yeah. Is he relentless and just keeps going? Yeah. Does he? Okay, here's a talent stack for right now for someone like Jim Bob or me. Like, right now, Jim Bob is the best print cartoon satirist in the world. Think about that. The whole world, the best is Jim Bob. The wilderness is where the talent actually is. I can say that without a shadow of a doubt, that the best satire cartoonist in the world is made by Jim Bob. Should he be? No. I'm just kidding, Jim Bob. Kind of. But just think about that. He's great at guitar. Awesome. He's above average at guitar. He's above average at cartoonist. He's very good at logic, and he's also got balls. One of the big, his relentless honesty is really good too. Balls. Is when you get deplatformed, you quit? No. How many times do you not quit? 5, 10, 100? Do you get on unauthorized like Jim Bob did? You know, if you've been banned by Instagram, you know, Jim Bob used to have like 150,000 followers. It went to 0. Do you quit? That's a talent to not quit that. It's a talent to say, no, I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to change what I'm doing. That perseverance is part of the talent stack. Yeah, streams are great. He's great, dude. Would he be as good at stand-up comedy as me? No, not by a long shot. I'd boo him off stage myself. And I think when I tape my special, I'm going to really push to have him be here because I want us to riff together. But if he tried stand-up, I would boo him. I would be like, if he bombs one joke, I'd be like, boo! Where's the big bear? Because I won't take it. I won't take it from that little, I'm getting too upset. Congrats, Bears, on your excellent taste and character judgment. Yeah, because a lot of people love comedy, so they're coming here because I'm like the last comic standing. And if you think I'm lying or wrong, please tell me who's a funnier mainstream professional comedian. You can't name one. I've thought about this because when Norm died, it was a great pressure was put on my shoulders. Like, dude, this next special is a lot of pressure. I'm going to be taping an hour special I've never done on stage in the wilderness of Idaho. I could easily fail. Does that excite me a little? Yes, of course it does. And then if I fail totally and I'm just no longer funny on stage, you know, that's going to be something I have to deal with. But as of right now, I'm the funniest living comedian. Merry Christmas, building every day here in Alabama. The Stocktons. Thank you. One of my favorite basketball players of all time is John Stockton. Why? He's white. And he could feed that Karl Malone balls, and I really appreciate that from old John. Merry Christmas. Thank you. I'm getting a lot of cards. I love good family pictures. Jim Bob's too thirsty with those jorts, and I think it's going to get him in trouble. You know, if you're coming to a job site with no women in it, wearing a pair of cut-off jean shorts, I mean, are you trying to get raped? I think he was trying to Me Too us. He wanted us to harass him. Oh, we got some super chats? Nice. Merry Christmas, BB, from Honey Bear. Thank you. You too. Crush. Thank you. Clayton says, good day, and God bless you and your family. Today is my 32nd birthday, and family has made it amazing thus far. I listen to your streams daily, new and old, and love the gravy and spell breaking throughout. Rollerblading is awesome, though, so consider this my booster, despite the news that we are expecting our second in August. That's awesome. Yeah, but if you do rollerblade, you do have to pay me. Hey, BB, a little booster for the crime of driving. I already read that one. I guess Kyneton isn't paying attention today. But isn't that, like, this is what I was trying to make this point with Shapiro. That's the worst cinematography I've ever seen. There's just a guy's head right in front of Peterson's single. Is Adam now one of the best cinematographers in Hollywood? Yeah. It's crazy to realize that the money and the debt is making it so they're so easy to beat. You mean the guys who rub their hands and commit crimes and shit? The comedians don't do it because they're in debt or they're being paid. So it's so easy to be the best comedian. Just do the best. The fact that, my point is the future's extremely bright because they can't pay enough. There's not the money in the world. All the money in the world can't get Hollywood to make a good movie. Best movie I've seen Hollywood make in a while is Dune, and it's just because the novel is really good, and somehow they got to stick with the novel well. But other than that, like, show me a new original thing. Money doesn't make people original and good at anything. Comedians are so easy to control with money and status. Yeah, because most of them have addictions, like me. Sex and booze. So it's like, and I understand. So what broke it was love. The love I had for Amy and then the love for my family was bigger than my addictions. And it's amazing to see. But it's like, comedians are some of the most addicted, easily controlled people in the world. Because it's like, do you want, women to really like you and all this booze and high-fiving and there's always a hole in comedians, like some place in us that wants to be validated by crowds. I barely have that, which is weird because, it appears I did because I liked crushing crowds, but I was more of an engineer. I don't care if crowds like me or not. I don't like being mobbed or all that shit. BB, what do you think of John LaJoie? I don't like him as a person, but some of his stuff is funny. I was headlining Louisville, and he was there that week too, like earlier, and I was trying to be cool to him, and he was such a little prick. He might be cool now, I don't know, but at the time, people might say that about me too. You never know. He might be a cool guy. I couldn't stand the guy, though. The music in Doom was cool. Yeah, awesome. I watched Nick Cage movie Pig on Paul from Pocket's recommendation. Was actually pretty good. Wouldn't agree. It's a masterpiece, though. Necessity builds character. Comfort is for... Yeah. They're too rich. They got too comfortable. Dude, how come nobody in Ben Shapiro's team said we have to reframe Peterson? There's a floating head right in front of his head. Because when you're paid to lie all the time like these people are, little things slip through that honest people would see. Because we're motivated by the good, the true, the beautiful. So you'd immediately look at that and go, that's not good or true or beautiful. Change that. But they're like, they don't see it. They're like blind to it. Guys, this is the most opportunity I've ever seen. John was funny, but a liberal was a funny character. I haven't seen anything he's done in over 10 years. John was wild. I don't care. I think it's all very dark. I think that he's not that. I mean, there's no way he's that funny. I mean, my friends used to call me Taco because I looked like him. So I don't even know what that character is. Your comedy seems like an experiment to you. Don't care about the laughs for you, but how did the experience fail? Exactly. I was engineering. And there was always people that were like Zach Galifianakis was a funnier comedian than me when I was in that stage as well. Like he would do better on stage than me. I would do better than Seinfeld. You know, I would do better than a lot of these guys. And if people want to pretend that isn't true, they're lying. You know, like I would be on these shows where they'd have all the stars and they wouldn't do that good. Zach Galifianakis would absolutely crush. And he was so unique and so deadpan, and his writing was so good. Zach used to be hilarious. Yeah, but he's not now. He can't be. Between two ferns with Obama, you gotta check those boxes. So it's like Ralphie May was all right. Ralphie May could get bigger laughs than me in a crowd. He had that like almost black woman ability of just getting like, you know, you had some of these guys that were just crushers, but joke writing, not so great, you know, not great for family comedy. Couldn't do clean corporate events. Black movie theater, Ralphie May killed. Yeah. Like Ralphie could get you to laugh harder than I can get people to laugh. Ralphie May had the black audience. Well, he was a lot like a black comic where it's like, there's a rhythm and an art to getting people to be like, it would just be like deafening laughter from Ralphie May. Like Mitch Hedberg was the exact opposite. Mitch Hedberg was the best joke writer of any stand-up comic I've ever seen in my life. And he would bomb all the time. It wasn't until he got famous that Mitch Hedberg ever got laughs. Like he would do these perfect jokes, deadpan, just like, and people would just get restless. And Mitch Hedberg was a genius. Yeah, at joke writing, not stage presence. You see what I'm saying? There's all these factors. It's like Mitch Hedberg's joke writing ability. That's why people had to learn to like his deadpan. Because once you liked how deadpan he was, it actually became an advantage. But if you just put Mitch Hedberg up in a bar, or like you parachuted him into some like opening for Julio Iglesias or something like I used to have to do, no one would laugh. It would be like the worst bomb you've ever seen. And then later you think about the joke. Owen roasting me made me laugh harder than I've ever laughed in years. Right, that's another skill, is roasting. Can you come up with insults? Can you do music? Can you do macro? Can you be silly? Can you be family oriented? That's why I am the best living comedian. And it's just true. I mean, it just is. I mean, Mitch Hedberg is a way better writer. I think he's the best joke writer of all time. Like, let me just read some of them right now and you'll understand. So creative, so unique. Nobody was like him. You know, Mitch Hedberg jokes. 21 of the best. Oh, let's just read some of these. So innocent. All right. You can just read any of them and they're funny. I already know. Hang on. You can't please all the people all the time. And last night, all those people were at my show. Here's another one. I saw a commercial on late night TV that said, forget everything you know about slipcovers. So I did. It was a load off my mind. Then the commercial tried to sell me slipcovers, and I didn't know what the hell they were. I had a paper route when I was a little kid. I was a paper boy. I was supposed to go to 2,000 houses or 2 dumpsters. I want to hang a map of the world in my house. Then I'm going to put pins into all the locations I've traveled to. But first I'm going to have to travel to the top 2 corners of the map so it won't fall down. You see what I mean? Amazing. Amazing. His stage presence, it grew on you, but it was terrible until you liked it. And then this is what he does. He would just write non-related joke after non-related joke. And it's so good. This CD is going to be in stores. The only way I could get my old CD in a store is if I would take one in and leave it. Well, that one is not as great. I saw this wino. He was eating grapes. It's like, dude, you have to wait. I saw a commercial for an above ground pool. It was 30 seconds long. You know why? Because that's the maximum amount of time you can depict yourself having fun in an above ground pool. It's kind of funny. Imagine being killed by a bow and arrow. That would suck. An arrow killed you? They would never solve the crime. Look at that dead guy. Let's go that way. It's all right. I used to do drugs. I still do, but I used to too. That's very funny. I'm staying in a hotel right now. There's no 13th floor because of superstition. But come on, man. The people on the 14th floor, you know what floor you're really on. I don't have a microwave oven, but I do have a clock that occasionally cooks shit. I like rice. Rice is great when you're hungry and you want 2,000 of something. That's all right. Whenever I walk, people try to hand me flyers. When someone tries to hand me a flyer, it's kind of like they're saying, here, you throw this away. That's very funny. And guys, a lot of this stuff was 20 years ago, and it still holds up. The commercial for Diet Pepper says, it tastes just like regular Dr. Pepper. Well, then they fucked up. The commercial for Diet Pepper says, I don't get that one. I guess I get it. The shirt is dry clean only, which means it's dirty. That's funny. Oh, this is one of my favorite jokes. I hate turtlenecks, man. A turtleneck is like being strangled by a really weak guy. Like, that's so talented to like look at a turtleneck in a totally new way. Like, totally new way. So creative. So much harder than people give him credit for. I don't have a girlfriend. I just know a girl who would get really mad if she heard me say that. That's hilarious. I bought a donut and they gave me a receipt for the donut. I don't need a receipt for a donut. I just gave you the money. You gave me the donut. End of transaction. We don't need to bring ink and paper into this. That's funny. I feel that I never take receipts. I like the escalator. This is one of the best jokes. I like the escalator, man, because the escalator cannot break. It just becomes stairs. I'm sick of following my dreams, man. I'm just going to ask them when they're gone and hang on, ask them where they're going and hook up with them later. It's kind of funny. All right. But see what I mean though? It's just like so good. The joke writing is unique, clean, timeless. Mitch's joke about his neighbor who would knock on the wall when he was too loud and he'd say, go around, that's not a door. That joke was about Nick DiPaolo. He actually lived next door to him. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. All right, let's read some mail. Waffle is just a pancake with syrup traps. Right. And it makes you really happy to see the world in a new way. That's the magic of Mitch Hedberg is like, the world is so funny. It's like, just look at it in this way. And that's so valuable. Like, that's what I mean when I say I'm the best. If Mitch Hedberg was still alive, I wouldn't make the claim that I'm the best living comedian if he was still writing jokes like that. Because although he's not doing macro, he's not doing music, he's not doing, hard-hitting jokes or relationship jokes, He's so good at that one thing. And like he could make he actually has a broader demo than me potentially because it's so innocent and it's so clean and it's so not triggering that that guy in his prime is definitely better than me. In my opinion. Some would disagree. Some don't like that type of humor. But if I'm looking at it from an engineering point of view, the most amount of people could potentially laugh at that. Like children could laugh at that. And, you know, it's just so good. It's just so good. Stoner comedy, I would say not. I would say in a way it is, but it's just seeing the world. It's a series and a rhythmic. Like once you get into the rhythm of Mitch Hedberg, you're laughing as hard as you are at a black comic who's dual. It's just really hard to get in that rhythm for him. Years he bombed. I had stories where people were, you know, Nick Swartzen used to open for, or no, Mitch used to open for Nick Swartzen and bomb, like horrible, like walk the crowd. They'd boo him. And these are in some of the same jokes that are now classics because they weren't ready for the rhythm. But once they got the rhythm, it's great. Daniel Tosh is funny if you like baby. Well, yeah, I mean, if you know how Daniel Tosh is, you don't take it as seriously, but I always liked Daniel Tosh. I thought he was a nice guy. It's not my type of comedy. It's you know, it's comedy, but it's always just like shirtless, bashing genitals, mocking babies, you know, hate babies. That's why Anthony Jeselnik, all these guys, like, they're always mocking babies and they think it's really funny to kill babies. And I'm like, because a baby will never come out of a guy's. Daniel Tosh and Nick Swartzen are the funniest. Swartzen's one of the best joke writers, too. He's so funny. Nick Swartzen, although he's very famous and, you know, was one of my best friends in LA, I can still say he's underrated. Some of his jokes were so clever and so, just so good. He was so talented. All right, greetings, Big Bear, from the beautiful snowy mountains of New Hampshire. Normally, I'm not one for letters, but I'm long overdue for an antibiotic booster shot. I'm deeply appreciative of your comedic perspective of Clown World. I can hardly wait until my sons are old enough to listen with me. Please never stop annihilating Babylon with your words. Also, may I please be verified as Silver Lake Bear. Welcome, Silver Lake Bear. Thank you for what you do. Merry Christmas, Silver Lake Bear. P.S. I slipped you some leprechaun change if you are willing. Any song in Bob Dylan or Eddie Vedder's voice would bring me great joy. Maybe a Christmas song, of course. With that tip you gave me, yeah. By leprechaun, he means like a piece of gold. Yeah, you absolutely get a song request. All right, let me see what you got. Bob Dylan or Eddie Vedder's voice. So you want me Eddie Vedder singing Silent Night and then Bob Dylan singing Little Drummer Boy. How's that sound? Silent. No, I'll do Bob Dylan singing Silent Night. Silent night, holy night, hell is calm as bright, round young virgin, mother and child. Ho, ho, the tender when sleep in heaven, live peace, sleep in heavenly peace. All right, so now Bob Dylan is going to sing, or Eddie Vedder is going to sing Drummer Boy. I am a oh, my voice is too tickly. No, Eddie. I'll do another one as Dylan. My baby just started crying at the sound of Bob Dylan bass. Yeah, he's getting it. Your baby gets it. All right. I am a newborn prince, forever him. Eddie Vedder is a younger version of the drunk It's Cold Outside. But baby, it's cold outside. All right. Thank you, by the way. If you're willing, mate, Bob Dylan or Eddie Vedder's voice would bring me great joy. Yeah, I think I earned my authentic piece of money. I really appreciate that. Real OGs remember a little bit of the pecan, just a little bit of that pecan pie. Maybe you should get Eddie on a stream. Eddie Vedder? No, Eddie Vedder would never talk to someone like me. Eddie Vedder is a beast shill. Home sailor on a Porsche her, sir, wanna learn, yeah, oh, her, baby, it's cold outside. Vedder's a hardcore beast shill. He takes knees live. Oh yeah, it's disgusting. I still love laughing at him though. I do like some of his music. I really used to like that song. Oh, thanks for the super chat. It's very generous. Eddie is probably a birdcage case, allegedly. Yeah, definitely. He seems like the type who had his brain completely owned. Won't see you later. Or like he pre-programmed school shootings. He did Jeremy before there was ever a school shooting. That wasn't in response to Columbine. That was the programming to let people know that that was possible. Eddie Vedder is one of the most beast shill musicians. And I think that Matt from Quantum is 100% right. Like the beast agenda will give you like 10. Like that album 10 is so good. Every episode or every song. Oh, I'm still alive. Yeah, yeah. You know, epic. And then they'll do another album and they probably get a little more help from the Dragon. And then by the time they're like 5, 6 albums in, it's like, all right, Eddie, write your own music. And he's just like, like some of those older Pearl Jam albums are so bad. Geez, I had no idea about Vedder. I'm not making the claim. I'm just observing that Jeremy spoke like the song about a kid being mistreated and shooting up his classroom happened before there was ever a single case in America. And then they roll out the agenda of school shootings. All right. And MTV played the video all the time. Remember the Jeremy video was programmed into my brain that you could potentially have a kid come into school and shoot everybody. And then that happened like 1,000 times. Nothing As It Seems is one of my all-time favorite musically. I like that song. Hang on, how's that song go? It's yes, I'm on the hold on. I know there's like no words to it in classic Eddie Vedder style, but
And then
oh, I'm just a man, carry on my head. Count on my hand the ones I love. What song is that? Oh, I'm a lucky man who carries all his hand. Yes, I'm just a It's called Just Breathe. By the way, if anyone gives me a gold coin, I'm going to take your request, no matter what. There we go. Yeah, yes, I. 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 Yes, I sit alone. I know someone we must go home. Oh, I'm a lucky man. True cut. That's too low. Yes, I understand never life must end. Oh, as I sit alone, I know someone must go home. Oh, I'm a lucky man to count on both hands what I love. Some folks they have one, as others they have none. Oh. just breathe. That goes, yeah, how does this go? Did I say that I love you? There goes, and by the way, how is this guy pro mask? He has a song called Just Breathe. 1999 Columbine, VTech was 2007. Oh, yeah. Every single one was after Jeremy spoke in class. That's classic programming. Practiced all my sins, never gonna let me win. Oh, that's also despair, obviously. Never gonna let me win, like your sin is an egregore, like it's now a living being with free will. Okay, Eddie. Under everything, just another human being. Oh, I don't wanna hurt. There's so much in this world to make me bleed. He probably has a vagina. Stay with me, you're all I see. Did I say that I need? Oh God, Eddie, your voice sucks. Did I say that I need you? Did I say that I want to? Oh, if I did, I'd true, you see. No one knows this more than me. As I come clean, I wonder, as I look upon your face. Oh, what a joke. All right. That's amazing. Thanks, Breathing Bear. Yeah, I talent stack, and I didn't say that to boost my ego. I said it so that you guys can do it. So whatever you do for a living, you can start talent stacking. Like for example, my brother-in-law, solid engineer, but not autistic. Almost every engineer is like, they can't look at you in the eye, and they, so just the fact he's personable gives him a great advantage. So, marketing, interpersonal relationships, like for example, a content creator that also understands editing, huge advantage. BB, we need a Christmas piano album from you. Indeed, Rebecca Bear. After I get I'm going to start recording music. A lot of you guys have wanted an album for a long time. I'll just start recording like albums all the time. I just riff. So, but I need to have a good mic or a MIDI cable or something. So COD's sending me all that shit. All right. What about Leon as your son's name? Leon Smith is way too black. All right. Hey, Owen, I've been watching and enjoying. Yeah, amazing, says Anchor Bear. And the best part of Anchor Bear is you guys can use them as loops and shit. Like if I start recording like legitimately good albums, I'd buy that same. Someone like Rebecca Bear, I wouldn't make I'm so bad at the business oriented of all this stuff. If I can make this shit really easily, I wouldn't even like sell it. I just give it to you guys. Definitely already thinking about that. Yeah, totally. It's like, I'll just play whatever comes in my heart. And maybe if I have to like work hard at something, I'll sell it. But if I'm just like playing music that you guys want to listen to, I could do that all the time. It's so easy. All you need is like a microphone and a computer. MIDI cable, Ethernet cable, that's all you need. Haha. All right. Hey, Owen, I've been watching and enjoying since April of this year. I was originally introduced to your content via Barricade Garage. He's black, by the way, and he likes me. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. SPLC, ADL. A black, and Barricade, his skin is like so black, it's like purple. All right. So one of the blackest dudes in America introduces me to their people. Why? Because he likes me. Why? Because we get it together. We both get it. So when you say that I'm not cool with the blacks, ask Barricade Garage. Was he not black enough for you? Is he not black enough? He broke me out of my very short and homo stint of being into large-scale politics. He made a similar point to what I've heard you talk about regarding people who whine and complain instead of just moving forward with solutions. No problems, only solutions, says Barricade Garage. Totally. Yeah, if you just list problems, what good are you? Yeah, we all know. We all know. We all know. The work you do is amazing. I am grateful that God led me down this path. My eyes have been opened to so many scams and gravels. They all seem so silly now that I can see. Okay, let me give you an example racially of how funny it all is. Like, let's say Barricade visited or something and I locked up my bike. He'd laugh. Let me give you the racial reversal. Let's say I was hanging with a bunch of black dudes and I was like, hey, can you guys sign this release form? And they're like, a white guy with a contract? No. I'd laugh my ass off. Because historically, white people have stolen a lot from blacks via very tricky contracts. So let's say I was shooting something and there was a group of blacks and I had a release form and they wouldn't sign it and it was really funny. I'd literally laugh really hard because historically, whites have stolen via contracts. Do you understand? I wouldn't be remotely offended. I would think it was really, if they were like, oh, white guy with a contract. Yeah, we're good. I'd be like, you got me. Yeah. It's the same with bikes. It's like, so you think I shouldn't lock my bike around a black guy? Really? Okay. Well, then that would make me crazy. Like if a black guy signed a contract from a white guy without reading it, don't get me wrong, blacks can also use contract. I wouldn't sign one from Al Sharpton. Or also, like, whites can steal bikes, obviously. Not usually whites. They're talking about bear. Yeah, but whites also do it. Whites can also do the tricky contracts. I know what you're saying, the Bowler Bear, but you see how that's just funny? Where it's like a release? There's nothing bad about that. Where it's like, just sign the contract. Like, don't get me wrong. It's like, we'd be laughing at all the certain type of quote unquote whites that do it. Blacks do the same thing when they laugh at, it's like, oh yeah, there's a group of blacks that steal the bikes. Where are whites indigenous? I have a weird, I don't know. I think we're indigenous everywhere in the North. I think that above, I don't know, the 33rd parallel. I think wherever there's not a lot of sun, you're going to get indigenous people with light skin. But historically, we're from all over the place, just like blacks. Northern Europe, and I believe Northern America. I think it's a total grabble to say there weren't white indigenous people in America. Of course there were white indigenous in America. I'm indigenous white African. Yeah, very far south. No, but I mean indigenous, like where did we originate from? I think in South Africa, easily could argue that there could be whites there. What parallel is that? 30th, allegedly? It's distance from sun. Like, I think a lot of the bees in South Africa should go up north, if you know what I mean. Like, they're a little far away from old man sunshine, if you know what I mean. The Mormons think so? Yeah, so do I. There's a reason that Joseph Smith was so canceled. Cancel culture went at Joseph Smith hardcore. He has gravy. I'm not making the claim that he's a prophet of God, but he absolutely has gravy. Absolutely. You don't get that much pushback unless you have gravy. It's not possible. Indigenous meaning pre-beast. Okay, like I could make an argument. It appears like the Amish seem to be indigenous to Pennsylvania. You can claim, oh, they came from the Dutch land in 16. I don't know. All I know is they're operating in an indigenous fashion in the North. I don't think very many Indians are indigenous to northern regions. I think they would have white skin. And I think they would probably operate like I know I'm making crazy claims right now. I'm just asking questions. These are good solid data on the old books. Just hear me out. When you look at the Amish, they appear to be operating as indigenous northerners. They're in the creation. They appear to be working perfectly with the earth, which is what I qualify as indigenous. Like indigenous would be like, you see a group of people like a classic group of indigenous are the Aborigines of Australia, where you see a group of people that can absolutely survive in the deserts without any help from anybody. Like those tribes, like tribal people that are completely in sync with the creation. I believe the Amish are completely in sync with the creation. It's just in a northern climate. Like you picture indigenous being like half naked brown people because that's where you see that, because that's where there's a lot of sunshine. If you think about an area with a lot of winter, you would I picture the Amish. I picture Vikings, like people with a lot of fur, hunters, you know. Abos are indigenous. Yeah, super indigenous. Like, I think they've been there I think they're the most indigenous group. Whites are the Aboriginals of Antarctica. Maybe. Whoa, that's intense, Professor Three Bear. I don't think brown people would survive without modern support above like the 40th parallel. Like North Idaho, like if you're living with the creation and you're like black and you get sunshine, you get almost no sunshine the entire winter. I mean, and you're like short and skinny. Like you're like a little pig. Like if you put a pygmy in North Idaho, yeah, they can survive now with like heat and natural gas and cars and all that shit. But like, I don't think that that's a natural combination. Because giant status goes with cold a lot of times. There is black giants too. But like, because your organs are farther away from the ground. Because it keeps you warmer. Because the ground is like permafrost and all that. Like you just, you keep your organs farther away from cold. There's got to be something to it. Because giantism works really well with winter. Snow abos are based. I think that's recent. I think Eskimos were there very recent. I don't think they were there that long. I think that's one reason why the brown people get a bad rap with their lack of architecture. Is I think a lot of it was recent. I believe that's why I moved to Arizona from Illinois. Yeah, Black Lady Bear. The irony about me and my reputation is I think blacks and brown people actually did have some magnificent civilizations. And even in the New World, even in America, I think that there was a multiracial realm culture. I think that there were a lot of them that were really advanced. But it's just not the story we've told. I think that during a reset is when you get all the Indians. You know how they say like the Indians have been on the plains for thousands of years? I don't think so, man. I think that they look like refugees to me. I think that they were like, you just hear me out. Imagine a Babylon 5.0 and we're Babylon 8.0 or whatever. And the cities start getting really diseased and cucked and sinful. And the population, like what's happening now, just like collapses. And there are people that like went out into the rural country to survive. And they're still using like tents and, you know, I'm like, they look like survivors to me. Because I think if you're in an area for a while, you just start building shit. You know, it just doesn't, I don't know. I don't know what do I know though? I just bet 911. I now find myself talking to boomers in and outside of my family about life and can't help but laugh internally at how much different we are. I have been fortunate to have an incredible father who pushed me to stay away from drugs, alcohol, and promiscuity, although I am currently breaking myself of these evil pornos. So I cannot judge, for I am not innocent. None of us are innocent, bro. I mean, we're innocent enough to judge certain things, but hang on real quick. An album would be awesome. Thanks, Rude Bear. Blue Bunny Bear. Hello, BB. I missed most of the morning stream. My daughter had a fever, so it was a long night. It is broke, so she's doing better. Request for Wish You Were Here. Much love to the best comedian. Thank you very much. Jeffers says, thank you. Mitch is very silly. Yeah, as a comedian, I think he's the best joke writer I've ever seen. Because, you know, Anthony Jeselnik can write jokes well, but they're so dark and evil that it doesn't, like, fill you with warmth. Mitch Hedberg's innocence actually gave you, like, a feeling of, like, good. He was good. Anastasies were allegedly refugees settled in the towns. I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. They feel like an ancient people. But it feels like, dude, I mean, some people say that those giant rock structures used to be castles that got melted in in the American Southwest, and maybe the Indians were the survivors. And that's why they're just running around chasing buffalo. Boomerangs are redheads that think we went to the moon. It's pretty funny. All right. I now find myself talking to boomers in and out. Oh, I read that part. I cannot all right. I know and respect that the behavior is immoral. I am disgusted with the men I speak to who brag about having had a lot of partners. I'm not quite up to par just yet to join your community. I value what you guys have created and will not taint that. You're the type of person we want, though. I'll read it in John Levi's voice. Once I'm a better man, I will begin looking for a lady to build a family with. Just incredible. I will also write to you again when I am ready for verification. Until then, here's some gravel so I can scare away these rollerblading nightmares and keep moving into the correct direction. P.S. I always thought the Trinity was the Father, one God, the Son, Word, Logos, and the Holy Ghost, the Ether. Yeah, I mean, I think it exists. I just don't think it's all one. Because I just don't understand it, okay? The following is only an opinion, and I have zero desire to push it on anyone. To me, it makes more sense that the Word is the way we should strive to live. Yeah, 100%. The Word allows us to connect to the Ether. The Ether would then allow us to connect with God the Father. 100%. That's how I view the Trinity, too. To say the Word is God and the Ether is God, it makes it so you don't understand it. I believe the Trinity exists, but just not the way it's described. The Ether would then allow us to connect with God the Father. Exactly. Trinity talk. Yeah, I know, but it's short and it makes total sense. Yeah, when you view them all as the same thing, you can't actually access anything. In my opinion, everybody's going to write letters to Vox about that. Oh, look at what Owen is doing now. Vox is like, I don't care. Oh, thank you for the super chat. It's humble and right to not understand it. Some things are just a mystery. Yes, but when something's a mystery, you shouldn't speak on it then. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, well, it's just a mystery. Okay, then you can't tell me what it is then, because it's a mystery. I speak on what I believe I know. And I believe that the three is constant in nature and a connector to God in a way. There's something there. And, you know, you have God, the creator, the Logos, the Word, and the Ether, the connection. That makes total sense to me. And so when I say that, I'm not just saying it's a mystery. Of course, there's mystery to God, mystery to Jesus, mystery to the Ether, of course. But when you make a hard claim that isn't backed up in the Bible, that God and Jesus are literally the same, that Jesus is God, his own creator, and then in the Bible, there's plenty of parts that make that seem illogical and to me totally not real. You can't just say it's a mystery then. Because when Jesus prays to God the Father, how is he doing that to himself? And then it goes, oh, it's just a mystery. Okay, then if it's a mystery, don't make any claims about it to me because you don't understand it either. We can postulate, we can wonder. Right. So if we wonder, don't condemn other people. Oh, how dare you? You condemn. No, I don't. I was defending myself when I was called a heretic by like 1,000 people about the Trinity. That isn't the same. I don't just run up to people and go, how dare you, blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm doing. I get to, question these things, and then I don't understand it totally, and I know they don't either. But the difference is they're saying I'm not Christian because I don't understand something they don't understand either, but I believe I'm contradicting myself less. Okay. Big Bear's disdain for the smell of kimchi hits an all-time high, invades Korea, 1871. Oh, that's hilarious. I do kind of like that guy. Oh, and just finished app 1283, so I had to fire this off ASAP. During a momentary lapse of reason, I recently attempted to post this pic on the BTA. Fortunately, it was denied, scrubbed. Part of the enclosed booster is for the indiscretion. Don't worry, I've been putting time out on Bertari Times app. It's like just revel in the cleanliness of the app. Heretic ain't so bad. Well, I know, but it's the judgment. It's saying, oh, how dare. It's like, if you don't understand it either, then don't freak out on people that just verbalize them not understanding. Because I know for a fact that I'm far from the only one that it never made sense to in church. And that's the reason a lot of people stop being Christians. So the fact people can hear me verbalize the question is actually very healing and very Christian. So I won't be shamed into submission. If anyone knows me, that's not even close to possible. All right. The remainder is for owning not one, but two Subarus. Oh my God. And my lesbian face 30s. Oh, Jesus. Speaking of Lebanon faces or lesbian faces, I've always hypothesized that the hatred between the Chinese, Koreans, and Japanese stems from their literal century-long three-way dating back to 600 BC. Shout out to the Ainu, the long-bearded, free-spirited, bear-hunting animus of the Isle of Hokkaido, Japan, Kuril Islands, and Kamacha as well. Until next time, long live the bears. Long live Bertaria. Haiku Bear. Oh, we just got a lot of good gravy from a real Japanese. Oh, that's hilarious. He wants to make this bumper sticker, NASA, but like with the Nazi symbol, the early years. I think it's hilarious. If yes, can I use your line, the early years? I could roll your cut into analog super chats. Totally. I wouldn't have thought of that. I mean, again, thank you for asking. It is my line. But like, this is like your creation. I'm not, that's hilarious. NASA, and it's the two Nazi lightning bolts. The early years. The beauty of this is it already sets it up so you can't get mad at it. It's like, oh, how dare you? It's like, what? No, I'm really into NASA. Just the early years of it. Like the 40s. Because it's like, then they have to admit it. It's like, it's a perfect joke. And don't get me wrong, I came up with the joke, but I didn't come up with the visual. And yeah, definitely make that. It's like genius. Oh, another Christmas card. Thank you, beautiful family. Congrats on the marriage. Genius, dude, genius. Yeah, and if you make money on it and just want to be generous with me, then obviously do that. But I'm not too worried about it. I think it's so funny. I could jump for joy. Steal your car, smash, and I'm so already jelly in a good way. That's so great. NASA, the early years. Because it's another hilarious way to just put a blatant Nazi symbol in a way that, not that I'm pro-Nazi, I'm not at all. I think the whole thing was a charade. But it's just a great way to troll retards. And it makes people see NASA in a much different light. Well, NASA was Nazi scientists that started electric. Yeah, that's the whole joke, Blue Bunny Bear. Yeah, it's Operation Paperclip. It was America got all the Nazi scientists, including Werner von Braun, who started. Joy, nice. Wesley, Ellie, Brilly, big family. I love it. And people used to get fired up about it because you got to understand, like right after World War II, America was really anti-Nazi. And so to have these German-speaking Nazis as the head of our science, you know, people were really upset about it. Like there was a lot of turbulence back then about all this shit. It wasn't just like everyone was dumb, but they just kept pushing. They were relentless. Like me and Jim Bob. It's why we're the funniest. Hey, Big Bear. I felt this was a good time as any to introduce myself. I'm the one who started your Truther page on TikTok. Oh, great work. Thanks for all the traffic. I'm so happy to see your TikTok gaining more traction and to have the honor to spread your message. The main page got over 6 million total views before being banned. Well, that's good. You still were directing people to my website, which is what's important. I know getting views is not the goal, and that most did not understand, but even if you help one person, exactly. No, I love it. I love what you're doing. I know it was worth it. Yeah, because it does help people that they don't, because right now one of the biggest psyops is that you're alone if you go against the ridiculous mainstream narrative. The narrative is so bad. I'd whether wear a shirt will go well with all. The current mainstream narrative is so nonsensical. Like, you have to have no memory, like zero memory. Even if you believed in the science and all that in the beginning, every claim they make, they've won back on. Every claim. They're no longer even calling it a. They're no longer making a claim that'll give you inoculation. They're no longer making a claim, and then they're just throwing shit at a wall, right? And so I feel for the people that feel alone, that are like, this is crazy, but so that means I'm crazy because I'm all alone. You're not alone. Donald Trump, that piece of shit, recently did the same thing. He was bragging about his booster and how everyone needs their booster, and some people in the crowd booed him, and he said that they're a small minority and no one listens to them. No, Donald, we're like, I don't know, half the country. Half. I would say half the country is not. I would make the claim that I would guess 30% have gotten zero and never will. Never. And then I'd say at least 50% are not, quote unquote, fully piece of shit. I swear to God, I think Trump's worse than Biden because he's more of a betrayer. He's more like Biden is a liar and a thief and I know it, like at that level, they're all so bad. But what Trump did to his base is so evil. Evil. And now he's trying to gaslight them. He called his supporters on January 6th terrorists. Even after he begged them to go to the Capitol and march to the Capitol and make your voice heard. They're taking our country. Deep state, deep state, deep state. Then you get a couple actors to act super crazy on Pelosi's desk. Dude, horrible guy. Horrible human being. Probably funny. I'd put him in similar to Michael Malice. It's like, would I laugh being around him? Yeah. Could I share a dinner table with him and find them amusing? Yeah. Morally, really bad people, in my opinion. And I can judge that as a flawed guy who is, you know, not only not perfect, but battle all kinds of sin and demons myself. Not even close to these people. These people are evil. Trump is still the Messiah, the savior of Israel, in my opinion, says Mingyan. Mingyan, you're being too sarcastic today, and if you keep it up, you're going to be banned again. All right? Your sarcasm is getting ridiculous. That's a feminine trait, Mingyan. In fact, I originally found you on TikTok on a random channel and probably would not have found you without it. While running the page, I learned a lot about myself, and I'm appreciative that you allowed me to experience it. Yeah, if you're strong, running one of my clips channels or mirror channels is an incredible experience. If you're a gamma or you're weak, it'll ruin you because you'll start getting all these comments and attention and all that. If you have the desire for unearned power, like I've had so many clips channels just become psychotic. But if you're not like that, you'll learn a lot about the world. And it's going to be really helpful for you. Ming is always too sarcastic. Is he drunk? Oh, Rumble rants. Oh, I got a Rumble chat. First time catching your live stream. Keep crushing, BB. Merry Christmas to you and family. Thank you. Awesome. That was from Defuse327. That's really cool. Good work, Coddington. May I be verified as Fire Bear? Yes, welcome, Fire Bear. I love that. You have brought me closer to God, helped me realign my perspective in life, and I believe even got me on the right frequency after a break from dating to find a new person. These are among the many reasons I tried to spread your content at work. One second. Awesome. You're someone I'm so glad that I connected with. P.S. I have a new channel on TikTok called The Truther Owen Benjamin 2. Bears, feel free to follow if you want. Bear Logical 1. Onwards to castles and airships. Beartaria. Yeah, another thing is just always hashtag my name. It's a great way to find other channels. Yeah, TikTok is a great resource. And yeah, when you get into the multi-millions of views, they do take down your channel. But it's still fun. It's super fun. Then just do it again. It's perseverance is one of the talents that you stack. We value you here, Ming. I'm not going to ban you. I mean, I will if I have to, but... Dear Big Bear, thanks for showing the way to many. I wrote this book a year ago. Merry Christmas from How Much Can a Koala Bear? Let's take a look at your book. The Illumination, dynamic new book by M.W. Strother. It's always 5 o'clock where Ming is. It's true. That's why his most prized possession is that broken clock of his. You see the improv? You see that? Am I as good as the bike thief on that show? No, but probably better than Mitch Hedberg. Yo, baby, we think it's best to start letters with a bit of gratitude. In a recent episode, you mentioned how some lady claimed handwriting letters is a spiritual exercise. That concept helped alleviate self-criticism of the letters I do write. I've written about a dozen letters, but have only sent 2. My wife reaffirmed this sense while pre-reading the last letter I was writing. This is not equally I don't know what you're saying. I could do nothing but laugh because I knew that's true. I was riding the high of a... I'm going to read this after. Your handwriting is very small. This is from Wabi Sabi Permaculture Farm, an unnamed bear. I will check it out after. When I have this light in my eyes, I can't read words that small, but I will look at it and enjoy it. All right, what is the book titled? I think it's called like Illumination. Something mildly weird, but it could be a good book. Dear Big Bear, thanks to Amy's creativity, I have just the gut for my Bearette friends to experience the joy of sourdough. Oh yeah, my wife's towel. Etsy.com/shop/daisylove_13 is my wife's. Wabi Sabi was in prison, haha. I don't know what that means, Burn Bear. Is that like a prison thing, Burn Bear? What were you in prison for, Burn Bear? What do you arrest an Irish guy for? Everything they do is illegal in my world. That's like, let me guess, you're trying to the subway. And it all started when you down the rabbit hole of biblical cosmology, where I found my pastors Troy Towns and Dean Ottle and their wonderful churches when mine closed out of fear. Good for you. Troy's a great name. He was arrested for unfinished construction jobs. It's hilarious. He ran off with a sack of potatoes. Nice. This New Year finds me having to scale down, so I will have to catch you on the app only, but I will always be thankful for being a part of Bertaria, crushing with no despair, and forever grateful for all you do. I now have chickens and sourdough and hope to have 2 milking goats. God is absolutely good. All in Montgomery. Love to all. Bloomer Bear. Jesus is the light of the world. I love that. 5 counts of self-rape. I was never in prison. In prison, they write small on toilet paper. I saw it on Ross Kemp's show. So stop acting like you know about what it's like being in the big house, Burn Bear. You trying to get points with Barricade Garage? He'll laugh at a white boy like you. My man. Yeah, you were arrested for self-rape. Trying to on a Ferris wheel again, aren't you, Burn Bear? Thanks for the streams. Enjoy my latest book. Oh, sweet. American crossword puzzles for patriotic Americans. Nice. If I didn't read your letter on the stream, I got it, but I have a bit of a mess right now. So just bear with me. I always get your letters. The post office really does bet 1,000, but I've let my area get a little unorganized. I'm going to clean it, and I'll figure out what I haven't read. But anyway, I'm going to play Wish You Were Here because I was requested, and if anybody wants to super chat, entropystream.live/app/Owen Benjamin comedy. The thought of someone on a Ferris wheel is hysterical. Yeah, and that original idea was Brody Stevens. He goes, I've never joined the Mile High Club, but I have on a Ferris wheel. That's but he doesn't see this is how it all works. That's Brody's joke, but he doesn't get to claim all ownership to off on a Ferris wheel. His joke is comparing it to the Mile High Club. The concept of whacking off on a Ferris wheel is simply funny. It's like me claiming rollerblades. It's like everybody knows rollerblades are. Can you guys see how much I love comedy? Like I'm a fan of it before I'm even a comedian. That's one reason why the last 8 years have been so devastating. They just stopped being funny. Comedy was like my release valve of life. I love good comedy. I would just sit in the back of the Hollywood Improv. One of the best parts about being a comedian was I could have all the free shows in the world. And I would just watch it. And it was like the truest thing in the world was stand-up comedy for me. It was like all these lies in the world. And then for an hour, you could watch people go up on stage and say the truth. And I loved it. And they took it from me! That's why Brody hung himself. Imagine being that funny and seeing what's happening without, a connection to God, family, health. Just hung himself. I understand. Brody was like, Brody, just tapping out, and he just died. And everybody understood it. They're like, what else is Brody going to do? He's super funny. He doesn't have family, lives in LA, and no one's being funny anymore. So he's just like, I'm out of here. Yeah, that Brody thing's sad. Kind of, but it's totally understandable. What else is he going to do? I mean, he was a bipolar guy on pills who was really funny in a world that was no longer allowing him to be funny, with a weird identity but no connection to God, living in Los Angeles with like a weird relationship with his mom. Like, yeah, there's always a way out. Like, he could have not done that. But that's the most potential suicide I've ever heard in my life. Like, just those pills he was on alone, the side effect is suicide. He also was like a artistic, volatile comedian in a world that was killing that. And where was he going to go? Was once a very good baseball player. Yeah, he was obsessed with Los Angeles. 818 till I die, Reseda. So his skill set was knowing random facts about Los Angeles. So if he left, what's he going to do? He didn't have a family, weird relationship with his mom, raised like with all guilt but zero God, on pills where the side effect is suicide, in a world that's killing comedy. Like, to him, that made perfect sense. I mean, take the bipolar challenge, you coward. Good one out of Autistic. It was the pills that were the most destructive. Those antidepressants are so brutal. Yeah, because Denmark Bear just wants everyone to die. Aren't antidepressants nearly 100%? I don't know. I think it's all... Piano sounds great, doesn't it? The new tuning is... Yes, I'm just a hero. This song feels like I'm watching snow and fall in slow motion. Yeah, I love that. I'm just making this up right now. That's why if I was gonna do an album, it would just be like a bunch of me just playing shit. Like, I've never played this before. This part isn't mine. This is Shostakovich. Yeah, I could just play stuff like that for hours and just like put it on an album and just be like, here. Such a beautiful melody. Yeah, and it was just coming out of the air. I've never played that before. And it's very simple too. It was just like C7, F7, and then some other shit that just springs up. I should call the album Whites Only because I only play in C. Be like, oh, have you heard of Owen Benjamin's new album? It's called Whites Only. Oh, how dare you! They're fucking racism. He only plays in C, no black notes, ever. They're not allowed. All right. Oh my God, there's a black note. Oh, sorry, Jesus. Whites Only. I should call it Operation Paperclip. I'm just really trying to humanize NASA. All right, that's going to be it for me today. OwenBenjamin.com, P.O. Box 490, Sandpoint, Idaho, 83864. Every bit helps. Thank you for all your support. It means the world. BuildingBertari.com. There is a new documentary out, so be sure to check that out. It's free. And spread that around. This is what goodness, truth, and beauty sound like. Oh, thank you, Georgina. LibertyLinks.io is where Coddington's all about this now. LibertyLinks.io/Owen Benjamin. Check that out. Unbearablesmedia.com. And then the magazine sales are now closed. So thanks everybody who bought that. Best stream ever. Thanks, Breathing Bear. And thanks to everybody who sent letters. The letters today were awesome. And yeah. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be fruitful and multiply. Don't be